Imagine waiting days, sometimes weeks, just to hear one voice from across town. In 1876, only a handful of people had ever used a telephone, and calling someone meant being physically chained to a wire. Now, 6 billion phones follow us everywhere, shaping every waking moment. How did a clunky box on the wall turn into the world's most personal supercomputer? Within a single generation, everything changed. In 1876, a single wire running from Alexander Graham Bell's cramped workshop carried the first human voice across a room. Bell said, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." The words traveled not through the air, but along a copper line nailed to the wall. The invention was radical, but it came with a catch. Every conversation was tethered to a fixed point, a physical anchor that shaped how people lived and worked. A telephone meant a box bolted to the wall in the hallway or the parlor. If you wanted to speak to someone, you had to be there, right there within reach of the cord. Making a call was never private. Each connection passed through the hands of a switchboard operator, most often a young woman seated in front of a maze of cords and blinking lights. By the 1880s, women like Emma Nutt in Boston replaced the boys who once manned the boards, chosen for their calm voices and patience. Within a few decades, more than 99% of operators were women. Their jobs demanded speed, memory, and the ability to stay polite under pressure. For many, this was one of the few respectable paths to steady work, but it came with strict rules, including height requirements, dress codes, and constant supervision. Long-distance calls were a rare luxury, reserved for urgent business or major family news. Each extra mile meant more wires and higher costs, making a simple conversation between cities a privilege of the wealthy. In rural towns, a single phone might serve an entire community, while city dwellers waited their turn in crowded parlors. The world was suddenly smaller, but only if you could afford to be connected, and only as far as the wires would reach. On April 3rd, 1973, Martin Cooper walked down a Manhattan sidewalk holding a grey plastic brick, the Motorola Dynatac prototype. He dialed Joel Engel at Bell Labs and said, "Joel, this is Marty. I am calling you from a cell phone, a real handheld portable cell phone." That call was more than a technical feat. It was a signal that the telephone was finally breaking free from its cord. The breakthrough rested on Bell Labs' vision of a cellular network, a mosaic of overlapping radio cells, each handing off calls as users moved through the city. This invisible handoff, managed by computer switches, made true mobility possible without dropping the connection. But this new freedom came at a cost. When the Dynatac 8000X hit the market in 1983, it weighed nearly 2.5 pounds and cost $3,995, more than a used car. Battery life barely lasted a single call. The phone became a status symbol for executives and celebrities, but remained out of reach for most. Hardware alone could not make mobile phones universal. In 1994, IBM introduced the Simon Personal Communicator, a touchscreen device that could call, send email, and run basic apps. Fewer than 50,000 units were sold, but the device hinted at what was possible. Meanwhile, Nokia's sturdy, affordable phones with SMS changed how people connected. By 2000, texting had become a global habit, especially among teenagers. Short messages zipped across networks, making phones not just portable, but personal and social. Despite these leaps, true ubiquity stayed elusive. High prices, short battery life, and clunky interfaces kept the dream just out of reach. The next breakthrough would demand more than hardware. In January 2007, Steve Jobs walked onto a San Francisco stage and changed the course of technology with a single sentence: "Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone." He held up a device that fused sleek hardware with a glass touchscreen, powered by software that responded to a swipe or a pinch. No buttons, no stylus, just your fingers. The original iPhone was not the first smartphone, but it was the first to feel like magic in your hand. Its launch price, $499, with a 2-year contract, seemed steep, yet within a year, 1.4 million units had sold. The secret was not just design. 4 invisible forces made the smartphone revolution possible. Cheap ARM processors that sipped battery instead of draining it. Tiny CMOS image sensors that shrank cameras to the size of a fingernail. plummeting prices for flash storage and LCD screens, and the rapid spread of 3G networks that finally made the internet mobile. Then came the App Store in July 2008. For the first time, anyone could build software that turned a phone into a flashlight, a game console, a translator, or a bank. Within its first year, the App Store offered over 50,000 apps and had logged 1 billion downloads. Competitors scrambled, Android phones launched months later, and the race was on. By 2010, the adoption curve shot upward. Smartphones jumped from a luxury for a few to an everyday tool for millions. The tipping point had arrived. If you enjoy discovering how technology keeps reshaping our world, consider subscribing so you do not miss the next evolution story. Every time the phone changed, it sent shockwaves through entire industries. In 2010, digital camera sales peaked at 121 million units. Then the smartphone took over, and the camera market crashed by more than 90% in just over a decade. Point and shoots vanished from pockets. Kodak filed for bankruptcy. Even professional camera giants like Canon and Nikon scrambled to survive as billions of photos moved from film and memory cards onto tiny chips inside phones. But disruption did not stop there. In Kenya in 2007, Safaricom launched M-Pesa, a mobile money service that let people send cash with a text message. Suddenly, a basic phone became a bank branch in your hand. Within a few years, millions were moving money, paying bills, and building businesses without ever setting foot in a bank. By the mid-2010s, M-Pesa handled nearly half of Kenya's gross domestic product, and mobile money spread across Africa and Asia, leapfrogging old systems entirely. Other industries felt the tremors too. Landlines faded as mobile subscriptions soared past the world population. Newspapers, taxis, even television, each was forced to adapt or shrink as the phone became the default gateway to news, rides, and entertainment. The attention economy was born, with every ping and buzz fighting for a slice of your time. Notifications and endless scrolling rewired daily life, for better and for worse. There is a hidden cost to all this progress. Every year, the world discards around 62 million tons of electronic waste, much of it phones. Places like Agbog Bloshi in Ghana have become graveyards for old devices, where workers burn plastic to extract metal, risking their health for a few dollars worth of copper. The phone's reach is everywhere, but so are its consequences. A new wave of contenders is already vying for the phone's crown. In early 2024, Apple's Vision Pro joined a growing field of augmented reality headsets, promising to blend digital information with the real world, no pocket required. Meta and others are racing to shrink the hardware, aiming for glasses that look and feel ordinary, but can overlay directions, messages, or even a friend's face right in your line of sight. On another front, companies are packing advanced artificial intelligence models directly onto devices, letting phones and wearables answer questions, translate languages, or organize your day without sending your data to the cloud. Foldable phones, once a science fiction fantasy, now open like books or stand like mini laptops, offering big screens in a pocketable form. Each of these prototypes is more than a gadget. They hint at what comes after the rectangle of glass we know so well. Whether any will truly replace the smartphone or simply reshape it remains an open question. Even as new contenders line up to challenge the smartphone, the next leap in how we connect remains uncertain. Phones that text by satellite already let hikers send messages from the middle of the ocean or a remote mountain ridge. No cell tower is required. In 2022, the first consumer devices rolled out, and by 2023, even mainstream brands offered satellite texting, though messages still crawl through the sky, taking minutes per reply. Meanwhile, researchers are testing brain-computer interfaces in the lab. Early trials show a paralyzed volunteer moving a cursor and typing words by thought alone, thanks to tiny implants that read electrical signals. But the reality is slower and messier than science fiction. Speeds measured in bits per second, surgery required, and every advance raising new questions about privacy and control. For now, the only certainty is that the story is not finished. Every leap in communication makes yesterday's miracles feel ordinary. Today, over 6 billion phones connect lives at a pace unthinkable just decades ago. But no technology stays on top forever. The next disruption is already calling. Stay curious, Subscribe for the next evolution and keep questioning what comes after the smartphone.